Welcome to the AP podcast. Today we have Brandon Burchfield. Welcome, Brandon.
Thanks, man. It's good to be here.
Yeah, man. I'm so happy to have you, Brandon. Look, guys, this guy is actually a friend of mine. He's a local gym owner now, recent gym owner with the Lotus Fit by Design, right?
Yep. I don't have to work out anymore. I made it.
Awesome. Well, me and Brandon met, through my uncle probably actually, because he has an office there. He does some PT stuff kind of, but Brandon took over the Lotus Fit. Very successful guy already coming from, you said North Carolina?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and he grew a gym out there, CrossFit gym. So today we're going to be talking about CrossFit stuff. But first of all, Brandon, I kind of want to get some background, your credentials. You talked to me already about, you've been training for 15 years, personal training for 7 years, training yourself for 15. Kind of go into what got you into, I don't know, did you start with CrossFit? Kind of tell us your story, and then we'll get going with the CrossFit stuff.
Yeah, so it all kind of started with that phrase, like, how much can you bench? On a serious note, it kind of did. I grew up in the family gym. My parents were missionaries, lived in India, until we were about 6 years old, moved back home. And I've always been around the gym. But in middle school, probably 8th grade, I went to my brother's weightlifting class with all the seniors and everything. And they're like, "Oh, little Burchfield, get on the bench. We're maxing out today." I'm like, "All right, sure." Yeah, I was like, this is what you guys do? All right. So I just started warming up, and they helped me with progressions and everything. And they were getting all excited, and I actually maxed out at like 205. And, yeah, they were like, "Oh, my God, this is crazy." And so that kind of, opened my eyes to it, and I guess was the, really big spark for me with real training, And before that, I didn't really mess with anything else. And so I always was into sports and football. And
yeah, you said that you played football, and you actually made it to you said semi-professional, or did you say college?
No, didn't go to college. So I barely graduated college. Me and academics, we didn't really get along. I didn't really connect with studying and learning and all that stuff in that kind of system. So which is crazy, because now that's all I do is study and learn. And
right.
It's just, I wish I could have had that same mindset back then. But anyways, semi-pro ball, Northern California for just a year, just kind of messing around. And it was good, but it was kind of like a washed up time. It wasn't like, "Oh, this is what I'm pursuing because I want to make a career out of it," or anything. It was like, "Oh, I miss hitting people and playing football." So
yeah.
That was always there. So had a lot of back injuries and actually fractured my L4, L5, had compression fractures. Yeah, I had tons of crazy stuff. So then fast forward, did that, moved back to North Carolina, and that's when I got into CrossFit.
Okay. And when did you first hear about the CrossFit stuff? Like, what got you into, or why did you choose CrossFit, I guess?
I don't know. I didn't really choose it. I just went like, it was kind of the new thing, I heard about it in California whenever I was playing semi-pro ball. And then when I moved back home, they were putting a new gym in. Like, all right, why not, try this? Mm-hmm. And so for me, it was a way to get my athlete fix, if you will. Mm-hmm. So it seemed like really intense, really competitive. Oh, there's a leaderboard, that just sucked me right in, right? Like it does a lot of people. Yeah. And so then I was doing personal training and shadowing a lot of personal trainers there and just learning everything I could. So just, dove it there.
And so with that, CrossFit kind of sucked you in, and then for all the listeners, some people are probably wanting to go into personal training or as such. I want you to talk a little bit about this OPEX certification. Is it strictly for CrossFit, or what does the all entail? And what does it stand for?
OPEX?
Yeah, if you remember.
I don't think they use it as like an acronym. I don't think it's like O stands for this, or
Mm-hmm.
but they're a coaching program. So kind of like NASM,
Mm-hmm.
without the definition. Yeah, OPEX is formerly known as OPT. James Fitzgerald started it, because he saw a lot of the flaws or just the missing holes in CrossFit. CrossFit's not like a complete, system in and of itself. And it's gotten progressively better and further away from, kind of a black and white, model. But so OPEX, basically they coach coaches. Their whole 5-level module starts with assessment, then program design, then life coaching, nutrition, and business systems. So there's 5 modules within the CCP level 1. And so that really was another milestone in my career that just set me on a blaze and just really challenged me more than anything to truly define what fitness is. And why are we doing it in the first place? Like, why do CrossFit? Why do all these different, types of programs, So they have a very huge reputation in the performance side of CrossFit. So they send a lot of athletes to regionals and to the games and all that good stuff.
Yeah, because I sat in that one day when I sat in with your guys' little team meeting and going over clients' periodization or training that you're going to do for the next month or 2 or so. And I'm not really familiar with CrossFit at all, like the stuff you do. So it was really interesting how in depth though you guys went with structuring your training. And that's what I kind of want to ask you about with the CrossFit, the OPEX coming out of that, diving into training. There was a lot of percentages. There was a lot of different RPE scales in there and stuff like that. So could you kind of, for people wanting to go into CrossFit, give us like a background of what you do, how you structure your stuff, and then kind of just feed off of that.
Yeah. So a lot of our clients have done CrossFit before. And we basically structure everything with a clear slate and really get down to someone's goals and where they currently sit. So the assessment process is enormous in that whole deal. So if someone wants to go into CrossFit, I would just challenge them and ask them why. What's the purpose? If it's more of an educational thing, then great, learn about it. I think it's got some awesome principles and different stuff like that. But as far as our clients coming in, most of them don't fit this high intensity profile, that's kind of sold out there. It's like you come in, you're overstressed, you or either undereat or overeat, you want to lose 30 pounds, your hormones are all out of whack. Most of my clients are, anywhere from 30 to 50. They just want to live long and prosper, right? High intensity isn't designed to live long and prosper. High intensity is designed to compete and, win trophies and medals and all that good stuff. And that's good in its rightful place. But I think where a lot of people get stuck is in this middle ground, right? Where it's like, I want to lose all this weight, build all this muscle, but yet I've got all this crazy high intensity stuff that's just beating me up, right? So that's where the program design comes into place, and that individual approach. That
I was going to say the assessment, what you're talking about, the pre-frame, is I have to do that too, as well as people come to, they'll come to you and say, I want to gain 10 pounds of muscle, lose 20 pounds of fat at the same time, and also increase my strength by 50 pounds on the bench or whatever. That's, but coming to you with your age demographic, you just said, most people probably still see your gym because I believe before it was a CrossFit gym. So they probably still see your facility probably correlated to mostly CrossFit. And some people are scared of that, right? Especially if they're older, because of, the intensity of what probably true CrossFit is.
Yeah.
But you're saying that you kind of go a different route and you can kind of bend the rules a little bit. And you shouldn't be scared is what I'm saying.
Yeah. No, as far as our gym, definitely Definitely not. I mean, there's always going to be this kind of intimidation, nervous factor. And I think that's good if people really embrace it, it'll help launch them forward. But yeah, the way that is my history with CrossFit is, it's really hard to get the best optimal results in that kind of group setting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. Okay. That makes sense. And I guess a group setting though, for sure. If you're somebody wanting to, how do I put this? If you're somebody wanting to lose weight, right? Lose body fat, and you go to a CrossFit gym or something similar to yours.
Yeah.
Would you say that that group though has more benefits because of the accountability and the more of the social aspect of things? Do you see better results that way, or do you still see better results from individual programming? If that makes sense.
That's a great loaded question. I love it. Yeah, because I think us as, I don't want to go too deep here. Us is like, we're designed for connection, right? So
Right.
it just makes sense where we would thrive in that group setting because there's that, there's that interaction, there's that sharing and, that intimate kind of place of struggling with other people. But what we do is you do that same thing here, but everyone's struggling and working with their own specific program within a group, right? So there might be like,
awesome. Yeah.
there might be like 6-7 people out on the floor. Like yesterday evening, there were like 6 ladies on the floor. I was completely outnumbered. I didn't know what to do with myself. I was like, the testosterone is way low in here. Justin Timberlake on, but they're each focused on their own program, within that group environment. So I think that group environment is important, but I think what's more important is everyone has their own specific program.
Yeah. No, I agree.
For just best results. Like I don't want to, hate on CrossFit or other CrossFit programs and, slam what they do. But for me in my coaching career, like I've gotten to a point where like, what's the best? What is going to give the person the most results, right? What's going to create results that last, 5-10 years down the road. And that's ultimately what we try to do with our clients, over time, is design a program for them that they can look at it and go, man, I'm going to kill this and sustain this for 5-10 years.
Would you say though the programs and the design have the principles of CrossFit movements with your clients still trying to lose weight, if that makes sense? Are you doing CrossFit movements is what I'm saying with your clients?
CrossFit movements, can you define that?
Yeah, that's what I don't know. I don't know like
snatching.
How much Olympic lifting you're doing, how much, just what does all that entail? What is the spectrum of CrossFit is what I'm asking, because like most people come to me and they're like, yeah, I've been thinking about doing CrossFit, but I'm just scared that I'm going to hurt my knees and my shoulders and all this stuff. And I don't know what to tell them because I know there's a broad spectrum, but I don't know what it is. You know what I mean? So what you're at this end with more of the lifestyle weight loss, it sounds like, clients, and then there's the whole spectrum of here's the elite athlete right here. Here's, older demographic trying to lose weight. So can you kind of give me maybe what movements and stuff that you put into your programs?
Yeah. So as far as the like Olympic lifting and whatnot, 1% of our clients are actually doing that. Yeah. And that 1%, they're actually like, they want to be competitive one day. We've got like a master's athlete. And I think that's it. I think we just got like one guy that does, that like, because everyone else is like, if I don't have to do it to get the results I want, then why do it? Right. There's a better option than, so for you, I would just say pick someone apart, and with questions and ask them why, why this, why CrossFit? What is it that you want out of it? Most of the time they can get something better from you, from a coach, right? That has a very specific approach to something that can help them out with a lot of the back end lifestyle pieces that really make the biggest difference, right? Because that someone can kill it in the gym 2 hours a day, but if they're not if they're not recovering, if they're not eating, if they're not hydrating, if they're not absorbing the nutrients, right? Then what's the point? If they're not sleeping, you're only getting like 3-4 hours of sleep, then what's the point in just suffering, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think there's been a so that's but as far as the movements, I mean, I'm a big
more like you manipulate with like heart rates and stuff, doing just body weight. Do you do a lot of medicine ball work, stuff that's more of like a lower load, less of a load in terms of, obviously weight on your body? Do you work a lot with that?
With my clients now.
No. Okay. You still try to implement the oh wait, what do you mean by that? Your clients?
Were you asking me about like my current clients and the program that we have now?
Yeah. So like your demographic in your gym, how you structure their stuff, is it a lot, and it's still considered CrossFit, correct?
No.
Oh, that's why we're kind of back and forth. Okay.
I see what you're saying now, because I was trying to figure out if I should talk about past tense or present tense. So
Gotcha. Yeah, I was just trying to get some more of your like current stuff right now. That makes sense. That it's kind of transitioning out.
Yeah.
So I do want to go into actual like hardcore training, high level CrossFit. We can do that too. So now we have that. You would say that maybe CrossFit traditionally is not for weight loss, is not for all that stuff, but you can still incorporate some things in there that you shouldn't be scared about. We can kind of like put a shell around that.
Yeah, like I learned a lot of great stuff from CrossFit. Like I highly benefited from the movements, the technique, some of the program, design that they did, with looking at, basically your 3 different energy pathways, and so we haven't been doing CrossFit or promoting like, hey, we're a CrossFit gym for the past 2 years now.
Gotcha.
We really try to like stay away from that because of the stigma and the preconceived notions and everything like that. But
gotcha.
But currently right now, most people do start out with we want them to be fundamentally sound, moving their own body weight before they, just good progressions of fundamental bodybuilding stuff, just, start at a base level and then work up there. Make sure you're stable and got the range of motion for these positions, and, and make sure as a coach, like I keep a good filter in mind when I'm thinking about Jane, that I'm not pushing Jane as an athlete because she's a stay-at-home mom who wants to lose 50 pounds and doesn't want this crazy intensity. So, So no, I don't think it's necessary. I don't think the intensity side is necessary for weight loss. I think it's actually detrimental for a lot of people when it comes to that, because they're already stressed out.
Interesting. Okay. So no, that's a really good take. I'm glad that we kind of cleared that up, because you coming from a CrossFit background, and now you're saying that people who are wanting to maybe lose weight, like you said, stay at home mom, your demographic, CrossFit probably is not the best solution for you.
Right.
Okay. That makes total sense. And that's what I wanted everybody to hear, coming from a guy himself who's been doing it a lot. So
I'm not saying it's bad.
Not bad. And I want to go into like now, I want Brandon to take us through how to be this explosive, strong ass, just jacked guy that can move weight. So from your experience in the past, if there's somebody listening right now, wanting to get into CrossFit to be competitive, just like you did, just to you into that leaderboard,
yes.
How would you say to start it and the progression through?
I would say hire you as a coach. I would honestly say, to be competitive in CrossFit, we're talking, making sure, I just want to be really clear here, we're talking about competing in CrossFit, right?
Yeah, I'd say let's do that. Let's do actually like competing, trying to increase your reach your potential pretty much. Yeah.
So I would say the most important part of it, you can look at the stuff, you can study the guys who go to regionals and games and all that stuff, and really just local guys, that are competitive, have at least 5 to 10 years of weight training specifically for their CNS system. They have a well-developed CNS system, so they can actually put out this high intensity that a lot of people, perceive and talk about.
And so explain for the people who don't know exactly what that means. Tell us, what does CNS training look like? What does that mean?
So in simple, your CNS is like your circuit board of your system, right? Mm-hmm. So you can have a big circuit board, but not all the light bulbs are turned on. Not all the connections are made, right? So just because you have muscle doesn't mean you have full connection and can actually utilize that full potential of that muscle, right?
Yeah.
So every single rep that you do and struggle with in, bodybuilding or just weight training, just in general, helps expand and deepen that CNS system, So that's why it makes sense why, say someone who is just now starting out weight training, they've never weight trained before, and then this really wouldn't happen. But say we did like a back squat, right? And they did a 1 rep max, okay? Say like an endurance athlete wanted to do a 1 rep max, doesn't have any weight training history, he would be able to hit that 1 rep max, rest about 2-3 minutes, and he would be able to hit it again. Now you take someone who has a really well-developed CNS system, they hit a 1 rep max, it's going to take them forever to recover. They won't even be able to truly hit that 1 rep max, for a while. So being able to put out that kind of absolute strength and convert that absolute strength into power, and then that power into muscle endurance and aerobic, mixed model.
This is awesome, because exactly like this morning, I was literally thinking, I was like, what I want to talk about, the different strength, power, hypertrophy, and then maybe endurance, and kind of cover that with what you're talking about. So you're saying for new CrossFitters to focus on pure strength in the beginning. Through developing obviously motor unit patterns and everything like that with what you're talking about, your circuit board, your central nervous system. So tell us how you did, or how you would go about trying to develop that circuit board. Like, what is the workouts, the rep ranges, stuff like that?
That's a hard loaded question, because I don't know who I'm looking at, right? Mm-hmm. So I don't know like where that person sits on, there's so many things to take into consideration with their assessment,
Yeah. That makes sense. Yeah.
So it's hard to like just kind of shoot out off the hip with that one. Mm-hmm. Can you be more specific with just a type of person? Like create more of a person for me.
Okay. Yeah. So my demographic is going to be just probably, if you had, still say my age. Yeah, let's do that. Let's do me almost, but not less experienced. So let's do maybe a demographic like a 20s, early 20s, going to college, not even going to college, whatever. Basic gym bro, right? Yes. And he's like been lifting weights for a year or two, not knowing exactly really what's going on. He's just been lifting weights. His nutrition doesn't know anything about. He's just been trying to get in the gym and be active. Yeah. He's been squatting and bench pressing, maybe not the right way, but he's been doing it. Yeah. He comes to you and says, hey, I saw this CrossFit poster of the games. I saw it on, I don't know if they have Hulu or whatever is on now these days, but I want to do that because I want to be really strong. Tell me like what I need to do. Does that create enough of a character for you?
Yeah. So I would say you need to go through 2 weeks of testing.
Okay. 2 weeks of assessment. That's good. Yeah. Okay. And what do you do through that?
So within those 2 weeks, it's a certain progression to where we're finding kind of like what you were talking about at the beginning. We look at different strength ratios. So if they are competent enough to squat and squat good, then we look at what is their squat, their 1 rep max squat versus their percentage based on their 1 rep max deadlift, and we want their deadlift to be 125% greater than their back squat.
Okay.
Just as good standard, we want their weighted pull-up to be, their strict press to be 60%, strict barbell press, 60% of their weighted pull-up. So we look at absolute strength test after they pass, a lot of body weight stuff, just so we're talking someone who can move, right? They don't have issues or injuries or anything like that. So you look at absolute strength, and then you look at turning that strength into power. Oh, geez. So this goes so deep. Because like CrossFit.
Good. I love it. I love it. We're talking about power right now, too, about velocity and force together and explosiveness.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah. And then doing it over and over and over again, So if someone was to hop on a rower and do a 500-meter sprint all out, no holds bar, and then you only have 90 seconds to rest, then do it again, So the person who is extremely strong and powerful can get a really low score on that first 500 and then rest a minute and they're just completely tanked and they're just suffering for that second 500-meter row, right? Mm-hmm. Just because they're so well developed and they've hit that point. Then you take it a step further, someone who has that strength, but they know how to use that power, right? They can convert it into power within a sustainable way, and they've train their lactic system to where now they can use lactic as a fuel, right?
Yeah.
Now they're going to get that same low time and then rest a minute and still be able to suffer and get just almost a good of a low time on that second one. So, yeah. Long term, it's just such a broad scale. It's like, no one just, especially nowadays, like maybe whenever CrossFit first came out, you could just hop right in and sort of be competitive. But now, like, we got to map out, like, if you're not going to be committed to like a 5-year plan, then, you're
not going to make it to where you want to go.
Don't do it, right? Don't do it. If you're not going to, take it competitive, take it seriously, then, and make something out of it, then, if you want to just learn about it and just kind of, yeah. So anyways.
Gotcha. No, that's sweet. I like this. So this is going into periodization and stuff, which is awesome. I really like that stuff. So first, strength, building strength, and all that means is just having a higher force production, like you're able to lift more weight, correct? And then
absolute strength. Yeah.
Yeah. And then you're talking about going into power. And with that, first of all, strength, do you pretty much just say like try and do the big lifts? Like you said, let's see, squat. Do you do bench or do you not do bench for that?
Yeah, but more of a close grip bench press.
Okay. So
not like here, right? Yeah. But just here, because like this transitions more functionally to that, right? Press. Yeah. Okay. All that stuff.
So squat, close grip bench, weighted pull-ups, deadlifts. What are some other movements that people could start working on for absolute strength for what you're trying to do?
I mean, those are plenty. I would stick with those. Front squat. You're going to need a solid front squat. You're going to need to have not just like a heavy overhead squat, but just good position in the overhead squat is more important when you're first starting out. So forget about the heavy weight, because when you're competing in CrossFit, you have to complete or actually like place in the open, high in the open to actually make it to regionals. Mm-hmm. Right. And then from regionals, then you got to place in regionals to make it to the game, like top 4, something like that. And so, snatching a crazy heavy amount of weight is not really going to do you any good. So more of like a muscle endurance type approach would be good. If they've got a solid strength foundation, then look at muscle endurance and doing a lot of aerobic repeats.
Okay. So strength and then going into power and muscle endurance almost. Yeah. Once you've kind of developed your central nervous system, you would suggest them going into do you do a lot of like crossover training for that, or do you do like plyometric work for that, or do you go into what do you like to do for endurance stuff?
Cyclical endurance.
Okay.
Cyclical endurance repeats. So they're doing the Concept 2 rower. They're on a assault fan wheel bike.
Okay.
Or they're on a ski erg.
Okay.
Learning how to pace. Yeah, learning how to pace. You know exactly what I'm talking about. Yeah. Learning how to like not just, because most people like, hey, I can go out the gate really hard, but a true like athlete knows how to game it, knows like what 80% feels like, and knows what 88% feels like, knows what 95% feels like based on the time domain. So if I've got a 60-minute workout, I did this, check out my Instagram. I did this the other day, and I did a 60-minute workout, mixed model. So there's like a sled push, there's some jump rope, there's some ski erg, and some, no push-up burpees and whatnot. But a lot of different movements that need to be sustained for it to have the optimal results, right? To get the most out of it. So those row repeats are extremely hard.
Yeah.
And so like hitting it on the money each time. So yeah, that would be getting really good at pacing, and knowing your pace, I'd say is the most important part.
Gotcha. So once you develop the strength and then trying to get that endurance, it sounds like, this is just what I'm thinking, is sounding like you're trying to increase, like you told me before, that lactate threshold. So you're able to like sustain a high intensity or a high force output over that extended period of time. Is that kind of where we're trying to merge here?
With the lactate and all those.
So like you're able to be strong and then you try to find your percentage so you don't wear yourself out in the first set. And so you try to be strong all the way through is kind of what you're saying.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. Not crash and burn. And a lot of that just becomes suffering. So like I could put you through a test, right? Say I put you like this 10-minute AMRAP, right?
I don't know what that is, but yeah.
You know what that means?
I don't know what that means.
Okay. So AMRAP is just as many reps as possible.
Oh, okay.
Within that 10 minutes. So say you did like 5 burpees, 10 calories on the assault bike. Let's just keep it simple. And you did that for 10 minutes, right? And then you didn't pace it well. At 8 minutes, or say 7 minutes in, no, let's say 6 minutes. 6 minutes in, you're like suffering.
Yeah.
You're like your heart is through the roof. You're sucking wind, and then you're just surviving the remainder of the minutes, right?
Mm-hmm. I remember that from last time. Yeah, I did sprints too. That was tough.
Did we do that?
Yeah, I did all of that shit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, keep going.
Crazy. Yeah, I had to pull the plug on it. Whenever like I knew like I couldn't maintain that and my sanity and grow the business and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So my priorities switched. But anyways, I could take that same person, give them more of a strategy, and then they would get the same amount of reps without suffering as much.
Okay.
Or really suffering at all. They're just breathing heavy, and I made it through it, and I got the same amount of reps. So yeah, that strategy really comes into play.
Okay. And so when you get to that second stage of actually developing your endurance, do you still like to incorporate strength movements with endurance movements, or are you keeping the sessions completely separate?
I keep them separate at first for a while.
At first for a while?
For a long time, until someone can like really prove to me that they can lift heavy weights under while they're fatigued and look really good and stay relaxed and calm without like, doing like that, then you can transition into that. But until you can, I guess, stay really controlled and relaxed in that, movement, then no. Yeah.
Yeah, that's because you're, like you said before, training your 3 different systems of your energy systems. And I've never really messed with a lot of training 2 of them at the same, or not training 2 of them at the same time, but doing 2 different types of stimulants at the same time.
Yeah.
Because it would probably just go ahead.
Well, and I wanted to make this while I've still got this thought, with like intensity in CrossFit and like the sport of CrossFit and really like any sports, no one goes into a sport and is an athlete and says, oh, I'm doing this because I want to live long and prosper and I want to be really functional when I'm 60 years old, right?
Right.
No, that you go into that saying like, I want first place and I want to crush everybody else.
Yeah.
That's the athlete mindset, right?
Right.
But what happened and where the problem came was CrossFit came on the board when Greg Glassman started and everything and created this continuum that said, oh, well, the more fit you are, the healthier you are, right? And it's like, these like athletes, that are like putting it all out there, they're taking years off their life. You ask any of them that are going to be honest with you, it took years off their life,
Trying to take it to the next level, like the highest potential they could reach. Yeah. And so I guess that's something for people listening right now, not to be scared of it, but to go, because you learn so much, like everything you just said. I'm sure
there's no judgment. I don't judge you one way or another. It's just to be aware and know like why you're doing what you're doing and cost and and it's, for me, I have more respect for it. I got more respect for CrossFit athletes and whatnot because of what they go through, and more of an admiration for the top end guys now that it's like, dude, I can't believe, these guys are doing what they're doing right now. It's remarkable. So, but yeah, if someone just wants to you can do it like as a hobby, but just kind of like a recreational sport, but don't call yourself like a CrossFit athlete.
Yeah.
Like athlete, like that's a big, no one just kind of like, it would be like someone in your field saying like, well, I just kind of do physique competitions here and there. It's like, so I'm a physique athlete. Like, no, you're not. You just kind of work out 2 times a week just to feel and there's no problem with that. But just don't call yourself an athlete, right? Yeah. Just make that, and you'll be more fulfilled because then you're not constantly disappointing yourself. Because if you say you're an athlete but you're not, then you're setting yourself up for failure, right?
Right.
And so why do that? Why? Yeah. So it's no, like, I've got no judgment against like it being right or wrong or whatever. I geek out on the whole like
science of it,
ins and outs of it. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm the same because I haven't competed in a long time, but I love learning all the stuff with manipulations and just training and nutrition, everything like that. So one thing I was going to ask you though, because CrossFit is such a high intense training system, I guess you would call it. Where do you recommend people starting out with recovery and stuff like that? Like how many days a week? I know it's in the assessment too, but starting out trying to reach a high intensity and allowing recovery, just my like intuition saying that you're gonna have to have your recovery in line with that.
Yeah, that intensity has to be defined for recovery. So like, are we talking about there's just different kinds of different stimuluses to recover from, right?
Yeah.
Because you're covering a large scale of energy systems and demand and all that.
Okay. So let me ask you this and make it a little more specific. Yeah. So going into this, sounds like in our beginning stage, to not necessarily like you shouldn't do any sort of cardiovascular exercise, but to focus on strength. So you're going to be doing obviously resistance training to a point of putting a load on your body to get stronger, right? Yeah. So taxing that system, whether it's the PCR and then, little into the anaerobic, how many days in between on those really intense lifts do you see recovering?
For a beginner, a little bit, they don't need as much recovery because they're not digging as deep, right?
Okay.
If someone's going to be a CrossFit athlete, they're training every day. Like, you don't get Sundays off. Sundays are like you go for a hike, like you're still moving, you're still, staying active. But if someone, is getting deeper into it and they're digging deeper into their system, they're a little bit more advanced, then, a good 48 hours from that work is pretty solid for most work.
Okay.
And it doesn't mean that they're not training within that 48 hours. It's just that that intensity is lower and they're doing more structural work. So once again, it's kind of a loaded question, just depending on the person and their capability.
No, I'm sorry. It is loaded. Just keep it with the same kind of person I've been describing like that young guy wanting to get into it, because I would say that probably that's who's going to be, my circle right now. And a lot of people
Yeah.
just lifting weights either want to look jacked or just want to be really strong, right? So
Yep.
it's that age. It's not about
Nothing wrong with that.
functionality or health or shit like that. It's just about look jacked or be strong. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
that's just the reality of it. So that's why I was asking you that, because go ahead.
So here's a question I'll ask a lot. I'm sure you do, right? Well, it's like, what are my macros? What should my macros be, right?
Yeah.
Right. And I always like to fire back. How much do you sleep at night?
How much water do you drink?
Right? Why does that matter, right? Yeah, it's like, exactly. How much water do you drink? Like, oh, I don't know. Do you chew your food? Like, kinda. I don't know. Do you drink any water while you're eating your food? It's like, well, yeah, always. It's like, okay, well, we probably should get those things in order before we talk about this advanced stuff that you want to just dive right into, because it's sexy and it's cool and it's like
The new thing, yeah.
Yeah, and I get that, and it's like, well, we'll get to that place, but no one ever, ever, ever in their right mind would have someone do a box jump if they can't step up on that box in the first place.
I love that.
Right? So the same approach needs to happen with nutrition and recovery, right?
Right.
So, it's like, why waste your time talking about all this, if you're looking at a pyramid, why waste your time at the top when the bottom is completely, forsaken, it just kind of looked over,
Yeah.
So.
You can even refer to, I don't know if that pyramid comes into your head because of Eric Helms' different strength training pyramids and nutrition pyramids. That's what pops into my mind. I don't know if you've heard of those, watch those.
Yep.
But yeah, on the bottom, I think the bottom was just straight calories.
Yeah.
It's just like, well, before even calories, I like to do exactly what you just said. Sleep, water, dude. Like,
Yeah.
how many times are you eating out? Like just basic stuff. Sometimes it comes down to, it's not rocket science. It's not rocket science to like lose weight. It's just like being honest with yourself and with the people that you're telling those things. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. Yeah. And there's a ton of people. Coach Michael Ban he's an OPEX coach. He's phenomenal. He's got this hashtag called like the bandwagon.
Yeah.
This is just like a free plug for him. But he's great working with really rehabilitating CrossFit athletes that, were kind of riding that line and doing too much intensity and not recovering. And, you can I can just have a sit down conversation with someone and just tell off the bat if they're recovering or not, just from a simple thing. Like, hey, when you wake up, do you have energy? Within an hour or 2 hours of waking, do you feel that cortisol hit? Or are you just like, what does that look like? What is your, like circadian rhythm? Circadian rhythm is like one of the most important, most overlooked pieces in any kind of field or spectrum of health and fitness and performance, right?
Mm-hmm.
And no one wants to talk about circadian rhythm.
I want to talk about how much volume they're doing and what their macros are, right?
Heck yeah.
No, but I agree with that 100%. And also, I see a lot too. I don't know why lately, but just hormonal stuff. Like I wanted to quote this for me. I was like, you can't out train a bad diet. You can't out diet bad hormones.
Yeah.
I mean, but it's like, it's true, right? And I've seen that so much now, where stuff just ain't working. And unfortunately, it seems like it's on the female side of things more than males. But sometimes, males with their
males don't want to admit it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I mean, they just don't want to talk about it. Yeah.
So, but anyways, anything else with the CrossFit? I know we talked about kind of periodizing through strength and then power and endurance, nutrition, pretty much just like, start with not having to know like macros and all this stuff, but just to like have quality, the basics that your mom and dad probably taught you when you were young, like actually use them, drink water, sleep well, wholesome foods, stuff like that. And then also we covered a little bit of sleep, circadian rhythm, like sleep and recovery, how important that really is, especially with a high stimulating central nervous system exercise. Is there anything else you would like offer to them when they're first starting out or trying to go in their intermediate even to try
Yeah.
to go higher in their performance?
Yeah. Get a coach.
I'm gonna put Brandon's stuff up too, and because I have no idea what anything
Get a
about it.
coach, man. I mean, yeah, get someone who kind of like have been there, done that. And I mean, not necessarily me, but just, someone in any fitness, in any kind of spectrum, whether it's, just you want to look good naked or you want to compete or, what, having a coach is invaluable. And it's really something, like I consider you a fitness professional, right?
Mhm.
Because you're doing this, you're wanting to do this full time, right?
Yeah,
This isn't some weekend gig for you,
yeah,
right? But
right.
there's so many people out there that it's like, it's just kind of a weekend like side gig, right? And they're just kind of like, yeah. And it's like, I'm not judging that as that's wrong, but people need to be aware that there are like fitness professionals out there. There's few of them, but that like do it full time. And like, hey, this is what I'm dedicated to. And so that kind of relationship, no robot, no advanced technology, no biohacking can ever replace that relationship, right? Because at the end of the day, we're not robots. You can't just type in numbers and go, all right, here you go, you're good. Like you need that connection. You need that mentorship in a way, and it's that person's job to always pull on the mentor. Throughout my years of experience, like I've always, and just being like honest now, I've always had mentors, and whether it was an official coach or someone that was coaching me through stuff, always up until now, up until like this past December. And I'm like, it's like a scary feeling, I'm like, God, I'm not really like pulling on one or two people right now. And I need to get back to that place because like, I don't know a whole lot about business and growing a business and, the admin and all the back end stuff. Right. So it's a huge learning curve for me. And that's the same practice with fitness and CrossFit and whatever. You got to get someone who's been there, done that, and keep pulling on them, pay the price, don't just kind of like tip your toe in the water, like go for it. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, invest in yourself, invest in like exactly your goals, and I agree 100%. I wouldn't say that I would have the amount of clients or just the success a little bit. I've only had a tiny bit compared to yourself, but like mentorship has been the main thing. Like, honestly,
Yeah.
I'm sorry you said about college and you wanting to be better with your academics, dude. Schools. I haven't used any of it, man. So, so mentorship and having coaches before, just like you said, and learning firsthand and pulling off of somebody. I think that is the most important thing, 100%. So,
yeah, and dedicating yourself to learning.
Yeah.
Like don't just. I'm sure you get it a lot, and I know we're like wrapping up, and I'll let you finish on the last note.
No, go ahead. No, yeah.
But like, like we're not. At the end of the day, like we're not here to fix people, but yet that's a lot of the mindset out there. It's like, hey, you fix me, I'm good to go, thank you, but it's like, hey, how about I teach you and educate you on how to, fix yourself or advance your life and, do what you want to do. Here are the tools, apply it, go,
Exactly. Yeah. And I think that's what the weekend fitness coaches are not. They're just sending out cookie cutters, diet plans and stuff like that. And I agree with you. I want my people leaving the program understanding why the hell they just spent the last 12 weeks doing what they're doing.
Man, that's huge. That's I love it, man. I love it.
But anyways, we'll wrap it up then. I'm going to put Brandon's social media and email in the description box for this. This is going to be on YouTube, also SoundCloud and iTunes. So I'll have all that linked up a little later, Brandon, for you. But for now, if you guys have any questions, for me, I'll put my contact stuff in there too, but probably going to be messaging him because if it's about CrossFit, don't be scared to hit him up. He's, easy access and more than willing, I'm sure, to talk with you guys. So anyways, my man, thank you so much for, spending the last hour talking about some fun stuff, in my opinion. I really
Yeah.
appreciate it.
Yeah, no, absolutely, man. Absolutely. And I'll respond to the comments below in this in the YouTube link. So
Perfect. All right. Well, I will hopefully actually see you soon. I'm gonna drop by, see the uncle. So, anyways, yeah, we gotta get a workout. I gotta kill me again. Shit. Anyways, all right, my man. I will talk to you soon. Peace out, guys.
yeah.